You didn't have enough time, so you started managing it. You blocked your calendar, then you color-coded it. You optimized every hour, and somehow you have never been more organized. But you're still behind. Meetings stack up, your tabs multiply, and tasks, well, they stay unfinished. It feels like you lack discipline, but nothing is wrong with you. You are just optimizing the wrong constraint. Honestly, we have all been there. A deadline is approaching. You've been working all day, trying to finish it. But the clock, well, it keeps moving, and your work doesn't. And somewhere in your head, the thought appears, if only I had more time. So the next time, you prepare better, you block focus hours, you build a stricter plan, you optimize your schedule, you manage your time. But when the deadline approaches, you still feel behind. You still feel pressure. You still need just a little more time. Time management. It's built on one powerful assumption, that time is your bottleneck. Control your hours, increase your output. And to be fair, this logic has held for centuries. In factories, more operating hours means more output. More shifts does mean more projects. But knowledge work, it doesn't behave like a factory. Think about the last time you had to finish a report. You were sitting at your desk, looking at the screen for hours, and yet your brain felt full. Was time really the thing you were missing? Or was there something else? When you're trying to finish something important, your day rarely looks like just work. It looks a bit more like this. First, you start writing your report. Then a message comes in. And you quickly respond. You go back to the report. But now, you need to remember where you were. Before you find your flow again, there's a meeting. Then another tasks get added on. Someone asks you a small question that just takes 5 minutes. By the end of the day, you were busy the entire time. But your actual work hardly moved. And that's the confusing part. Because technically, you had the time. You can even fit 10 tasks into an 8-hour day. But fitting tasks into time is not the same as finishing them. Because time is only one ingredient of meaningful work. When you work on something complex, you don't just need minutes. You need a lot of different things. You need context, relevant information, mental clarity, working memory, and sustained focus. And for all of these, you need cognitive bandwidth. And cognitive bandwidth, well, that's quite limited. Your brain can only actively hold up to a few things at once. When that space fills up, performance doesn't just gradually decline. It fragments immediately. You reread the same sentence 3 times. You forget what you were about to say. You open another tab to check something. It feels like a discipline problem. It's a capacity problem. In engineering, I learned something fundamental. Output is not limited by the most visible resource. It's limited by the bottleneck. A highway isn't limited by its length. It's limited by its narrowest part. A project isn't limited by total effort. It's limited by its critical path. Throughput is determined by the constraint. And in knowledge work, that constraint isn't time, it's cognitive bandwidth. Time is additive. One more meeting adds maybe an hour to your calendar. Cognitive load multiplies. 6 context switches doesn't just add a few more minutes, it fragments your entire day. Once your mental load exceeds your mental capacity, output doesn't decline, it collapses. Not because you're lazy, but because you're over capacity. Let's pause for a moment and just think of what it actually means for your work. You weren't lazy, you weren't distracted for fun, you were overloaded. And overloaded systems don't perform better, they fail. In engineering, every system has 4 things. A designed load, a maximum capacity, a related output, and a failure point. A bridge can handle wind, rain, storm, traffic, up to a certain point. At first, adding another load is fine. The structure performs exactly as designed. Sometimes it can even perform better under moderate load, because the system is fully engaged. But as loads increase, something else changes. Performance does not rise forever. Returns will diminish. And past a critical point, the whole system will collapse. It's just your mind works the same way, just with different loads. The loads aren't wind, rain, traffic. They are context switches, notifications, open loops, meetings, unfinished tasks. At low load you feel clear, focused, capable. At moderate load you feel productive, engaged, in the flow. But once cognitive load exceeds your capacity, the whole thing collapses. You reread the same sentence 3 times. You forget what you were about to say. An email comes in and you can't even bring yourself to look at it. That's not a discipline failure. That's structural overload. And this is what I call the cognitive load curve. On one axis is your load, meetings, context, switches, open tasks. On the other axis is your output, your tasks, your projects. Between these two there's a peak, but there's also a structural collapse point. When output drops, most people think they need to work harder. Push through it. But if you're past your capacity, adding more load will only deepen your collapse. And that's the trap. So the next time you have a deadline, you start feeling behind, and you look at that clock, slowly moving forward. Don't think, I just need more time. Take a moment, because time was never the real constraint here. You can't fix structural overload by rearranging your calendar. You can't solve a capacity problem with more control. Your output isn't determined by the amount of hours you have. It's determined by how much cognitive load you carry at the time. Every system has a assigned capacity, and your mind is no different. At low load you're clear, at moderate load you're productive. Past capacity you collapse. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack discipline, but because you exceeded your designed limits. So instead of designing your day around hours, you need to design it around your cognitive bandwidth. That might mean closing the 14 tabs you're keeping open because you might use it. Maybe finish your task before you open the next email. Maybe say no to a meeting that will force you to switch your context. Write things down so your mind doesn't have to hold on to it, and please leave a bit of space between your focus blocks in your calendar, instead of stacking them back to back. Reduce active load. Close open loops. Protect your deep context. Treat switches between tasks like structural loads. Stop asking how can I fit more into my day, and start asking what is my system actually designed to carry. Because once you see your day through the lens of capacity, you can stop blaming yourself. And you can start engineering your work. The problem was never time. It was invisible capacity. There are patterns in the way we structure our work, our meetings, our expectations that either protect that bandwidth or destroy it. And if this shifted how you see your calendar, don't stop here. Watch the video YouTube recommends to you right here. Because the goal isn't to get through your day organized but exhausted. It's to engineer your day in a way that keeps your thinking sharp, your decisions clear, and your mind structurally sound over the long time. And let's keep building that.